It's your summer. What the bird is barbecuing.
G'day jabronis, it is TheVerd back with you again. Welcome to a really new series on my channel that I want to kind of get back into doing. So a while back I did a video looking at natural gift. Reason for that was because I wanted to do an analysis kind of video where I look at certain moves in a draft based format that I feel are incredibly underrated. And I also then thought, you know what, I'm going to branch it off into Pokemon too. So that's kind of the video today, and it's going to be the first video in a very long series, hopefully, a long-standing series that I think you guys will enjoy, which is where I take a Pokemon in the draft-based format and I kind of dissect it for you guys. I dissect the Pokemon and talk about why it's good in the draft format, or maybe concluding as to why it's bad. I'm going to give everything a grade by the end of the video, and each time around, it's going to depend on what you guys want in the chat. Like, if there's no new Pokemon mentioned, I'm just going to choose, like I am today, one of mine that I'm going to choose is a very underrated choice. So a lot of these guys, I'm looking for underrated things. Like, we know why a lot of the top tier picks are good, but potentially maybe I could talk about why some of them are bad if you really want me to do that. But what I'm looking at right now is just a few underrated, really cool mons that I've used in many different formats, and I'm going to talk about why they work, the issues that have come with them, and the ways that you can either play with them or play against them. That's going to be the kind of analysis. So it's going to be decently long videos because I really want to go into depth, because people say that I have a very good mind for team analysis and battling and whatnot, and they always say I draft strong, and so I want to talk about why these certain Pokemon are so important. And today we're going to talk about the Pokemon that basically I fell in love with at the back end of my first PMC season, and that was Alomomola. Now, Alomomola I was always a bit iffy on in draft format. I thought, you know what, this thing's really cool on stall because it's really annoying with 165 HP, passing wishes is insane in the membrane, but I was looking at it and thinking, you know what, it's a bit lackluster. Like, for a Pokemon with Scald, one of the best moves in the game, it only has base 40 attack. It's very, very low for a water type. It has a better attack stat, 75 attack stat to do decent, and it wasn't until I actually started to look into this thing a bit more that I realized that Alomomola itself can be quite versatile with the sets that it wants to run. And I really discovered there were mainly 3 sets in general that when it comes to Alomomola that work very well for them. So the 2 main sets that a lot of people would use when it comes to Alomomola are physically defensive and specially defensive. Now, why would you do that? Here's why. So Alomomola, let's not look at Healer, because Healer is not really what you need. Hydration is kind of cool if you want to play the stall game with Rain Dance, but this is the ability you want, Regenerator. Now, for those of you who don't know, Regenerator is an ability where every time Alomomola switches out, 33% of its HP stat is healed back onto it, which basically means if you have it at 471 there, well, 471 actually is divisible by 3, and if I do my maths, that is going to be, well, 480 is 160, so take away 9 from that. So it would be 3 times 160, so it would be 153. No, wait. Yeah, 157. Yeah, 157. So if it was level 100, boom, maths, yeah, don't know what that hand movement was. I was going to go like suck a dick, but I was like, do I really want to do that to my fans? Anyway, that's the reason why I'm wearing the tropical hat, by the way, is because Alomomola is a very tropical Pokemon. It's actually based off something called the Mola. You should look it up. It's M-O-L-A, M-O-L-A. I'm going to type it in here just in case you guys didn't understand. Mola. It's a like Hawaiian tropical fish, and that's actually what Alomomola was based off of. Fun fact. Anyway, so Regenerator is boosting a ton of Alomomola's health back. Why this is really good too is because Alomomola gets access to Wish. It also gets Healing Wish, but I prefer Wish. The reason why Wish is really good is because Wish takes half of Alomomola's health, which, if we're going to be doing rounding at this point, we are going to say is 235. So 235 HP is being transferred to Alomomola. And why this is really good and why it sometimes is better, I feel, in the format than Chansey or Blissey, is because not only are you then switching out Alomomola to pass to something else to get the healing, because of the ability Regenerator, Alomomola doesn't need the Wish itself with Wish Protect. It can get its own healing back and then heal up another member of your team to allow a really free, safe switch in. So that is crucial. That is definitely, if you're going to run a defensive set, that is the move to go with. Obviously, another great move is Toxic. Toxic is just generally fantastic. We can actually go through Alo's moveset right now. So I, in the past, have used Aqua Jet, but I'm going to get to that kind of side of things later on. Calm Mind is a cool strategy if you are potentially running a Rain Dance set. You know, Calm Mind, Scald, Rain Dance, like the Manaphy set pretty much, because you have this obscene bulk that you can run. Like, oh, I do not need the Discord messages right now. That spooked me. You probably didn't hear it because I'm pretty sure I turned my audio off. I'm hoping you didn't hear it. Anyway, so because you can run so much defense, a Calm Mind set can be terrifying, but at the same time, you really need to be careful with Alomomola, because one of the major flaws of Alomomola, there are two major flaws. One, it gets destroyed by Pokemon that have Taunt. Taunt is a very common move in the game, and unfortunately for Alomomola, it does shut it down against a lot of Pokemon. Obviously Pokemon that don't really care about being scalded, so you're looking at your matchups against people with Mew, and you know, other things potentially, like bulky water types, or just things in general that don't really care about being burned. So like special attackers that have Taunt really aren't going to care about Alomomola, but there is a way around these kind of tactics that you will see. Anyway, so other options for Alomomola, when we're looking at the defensive set, you do probably want to run Protect. Like, it's not obvious. You can run it, you can choose not to run it. The classic Alomomola set is this one, guys. This is the one that stood the test of time. If you go on the Smogon ladder, this is normally the set you're going to be going up against. It's annoying, it's stupid, it loses to nothing really. Like, there's nothing really that walls that set super solid. Skull's just annoying because residual burn, and if you aren't running a steel type, then toxic spam is also just annoying as all hell. It means that water absorb mons and storm drain mons and stuff can't really wall Aloe that great, and obviously wish protecting is just annoying as all hell. And then you can just easily just switch out and get his Regenerator back as well. So normally they'd be running leftovers as well. This would be pretty much the set you'd expect. Now when it comes to EVs as well though, a lot of people will be really smart and they'll actually run it like this. So normally they'll run that Alomomola like that, and you're thinking, Verd, why wouldn't you chuck it into HP? Thing is, Alomomola doesn't really need the investment in HP. If you're thinking about it, another standard Pokemon base 100 HP is chilling at about getting close to 400 or whatnot, which means that with 235, it's getting most of its health back from a wish that way. And with the Calm nature, it means that you've got really good overall bulk. You can take, you know, a ridiculous amount of hits, still have ridiculous bulk. So on the ladder, that set's great, but in a draft format, that set is not great. Here's why. In a draft format, it is very easy to bring Taunt, and the huge big one that ruins Alomomola is either a setup Pokemon, because Alomomola is passive as all hell, or a substitute Pokemon. That is the biggest thing. I cannot stress it enough. Alomomola with only 75 attack and 40 special attack does not have the hitting power to get through a substitute. So that is something you really need to keep in mind when it comes to this fish. Now, that being said, there is one way to at least combat one of these issues, and it's a set that I perfected over time. And in order to use this set, you really have to start thinking outside the box. So for now, let's leave Scald. So, how I came upon this set. Let's just remove, we don't really remove that stuff just yet. So, how I came upon this set. I was building for a match in the PMC, and I realized, okay, I really would like Alomomola to be able to take hits, but man, like, if I run this passive set, it's just going to be eaten alive by things. I need to think of a really cool set here to make Alomomola work. And I was looking at the potential sets that it could run, and I thought, well, you know what, Aloe's got really good HP. It's got really good defense. The one downside of it is that special defense. If I could find a way to boost it, then I think Alomomola could actually be decent. And what I came to the conclusion of, I was thinking about Carmine, but I thought, you know what, Alamomola's got decent enough attacks. Let's try Assault Vest. Now, for those of you who don't know, Assault Vest itself is an item that increases Alamomola's special defense by half of whatever his base special defense is here. So, see how down here it says his special defense is 207. That means he's going to get another 103 onto that, which means Alamomola's base special defense now is 310. Now, while you might be thinking, Verd, you beautiful bastard, what does that mean to me, you know, the battler? Okay, what this means, guys, is you're looking at a Pokemon that has 471 HP and 310 special defense. That is obscene levels of ridiculousness. What's even better is Alomomola has a specific moveset that works with the Assault Vest set that I honestly think is the bee's knees. This is my, like, go-to Alomomola set. So the 3 moves that you want on an Assault Vest Alomomola set are Scald, Knockoff, because Scald and Knockoff are 2 of the best moves in the game. Hands down. Being able to get rid of your opponent's item if it's not a Mega is fantastic, and being able to burn your opponent with a 30% chance is phenomenal. Also, the cool thing about Assault Vest is I can tank hits for days, and I can easily switch out of trouble because of Regenerator, which means I can constantly use this thing as a pivot against things. To put this in perspective, a max HP, max special defense Assault Vest Alomomola only takes about 40 to 48% from Mega Manetric Thunderbolt. Like, that is a Mega Manetric against a 45 special defense mon. That is just showing you why the bulk of Alomomola is huge. And you might be thinking, but Verd, you have Scald and Knockoff. How do you capitalize on these special attackers? With a great little move called Mirror Coat. I picked up about 4 kills in that season of the PMC with Mirror Coat because people just don't expect this move. It caught so many of my opponents off guard. They go for Volt Switches or their electric moves thinking, I'm going to be safe. I'll go for like a Grass type move with my Fire type to get that chip damage because I know Scald's not going to be doing that much and I don't care if I get knocked off. But they just never expect that powerful, powerful Mirror Coat, and it just comes back to bite them every time. It's phenomenal. On the Assault Vest set, it works like a charm. You can obviously use it outside of the Assault Vest set. You can obviously run a Wakam Berry, which decreases the electric type attacks, or you can run the Rindo Berry, which is a really nice way of actually getting around Zard Y if you're a little bit worried about that matchup potentially. But then again, specially defensive Assault Vest Alomomola actually walls Zard Y to hell and back. You just gotta watch out for the sub, but then again you can also tech on things like the HP Rock. I believe he doesn't get any other decent rock moves, unfortunately. Other than Wide Guard. Yo, that's kind of lit in VGC. But Rock, I mean, I don't think there's anything really. The thing that Aloe would get is like Waterfall, so what you just have to do is try and stall out the Zard, but it's just not ideal. That's the one thing you gotta watch out for. Is substitute mons are just annoying in general, but when it comes to the last move, now I toss up between a lot of moves here. I've gone with Aqua Jet in the past because it's really, really good to get that cheeky bit of priority off with Alomomola. It can come in really clutch because the base 75 attack is actually pretty darn decent. So obviously with this set, I'm actually choosing normally to minimize my special attack. Now you might be thinking, why would you do that? The reason is because if you're at base 40 special attack, Scald's never really going to be doing that much. Like, it's never really going to be taking an absolute chunk out of your opponent. So, you don't really need the investment, and there's no reason to drop your speed, because base 65 speed is actually really, really nice in this matchup. So, Aqua Jet is definitely a good idea. I've gone with Waterfall in the past as well, if you're potentially trying to look for a physical water move other than Scald is really, really nice. Looking through the moves, Magic Coat is kind of cool if you want to, you know, take on, say like Webs, or, you know, Hazards turn 1, you want to do that kind of shenanigans. Pain Split is possibly one of the worst moves you could teach Alomomola. I would not recommend it, just because of the sheer HP stat that Aloe has. You're more times than not going to go neg with that strategy. Shadow Ball is kind of cool, but also you gotta remember you only have base 40 special attack, so as much as to get some cool moves, like Bounce is kind of cool, but it doesn't really do that much. So then you're also set with that situation. Brine is a really cool tech if it wasn't a special offensive move. So just keep in mind the special offensive moves really aren't that solid. But as we go further down, you start to see some really cool ones, like Icy Wind. Like, obviously you get Ice Beam, but Icy Wind can be really cool because of that whole speed tier thing. Being able to drop that is really, really nice. Psych Up is also a fantastic ability for Alomomola to have, because being able to copy, say like a Sword Stance, so then being able to use Knockoff even stronger. Or the best one is being able to copy Calm Minds, and because of your sheer bulk, you can then take the hits really, really well, is great. Refresh is a fantastic move because that can allow Alomomola to basically 1v1 teams, potentially. Like, it's stupid. Like, if your opponent doesn't have a poison or a steel type, you could just go with the moveset of Toxic, Refresh, Wish, Protect, and you could just dig them around all day. It's really shit. You shouldn't do that though, guys. I do not condone use of that. Okay, here are some cool moves though. So, 2 moves that I want to go over. First one is Soak. Now, this doesn't go on the AV set, but this is a very important move in general for Alomomola. Soak is really important because if you don't know what Soak does, it basically turns your opponent into a water type. Just a pure water type, I believe. Yep, changes target type to water. Pure water typing. I'm mad at Brolic. Anyway, so the reason why that's really good with Alomomola is because that opens doors for things that would normally wall it to not be as solid as a wall, because what that also means, guys, is it's going to remove a grass or electric type Pokemon's stab. That means that the Thunderbolt or the Grass Knot or whatever is not going to do as much to Alomomola because it's not a stab attack. The other thing is it opens them up to being toxic. That's huge. That means that they can't stop themselves being toxic. This also works on steel types. So a steel type comes in, you go for the soak to turn it into a water type, you can fire off a toxic, and because it's a water type, it is going to get poisoned. Now, I haven't actually tested if the poison is consistent throughout the rest of the battle, since obviously when the Pokemon switches out, it's going to come back in potentially as a steel type, potentially like with the Jirachi. I haven't tested that yet. I will test that, and then in the comments below, I will let you know if it works that way, or I'll just say in the video here, I'll probably just put an edit note in the video here just to say if it works or not from what I did. But Aloe, it's a really cool move. I've seen my friend Gypsy King use it. He also understands just how important that move is, because it just, two big things that it does, guys, is one, it removes the power of a same type attack bonus, which can be massive sometimes. Weakening that is ridiculously good. The second thing that's really good is the fact that I said a mental blank, I don't know why. The other really good thing about it is the fact that you can spread toxic. Those two things. So if you're running like a soak defensive set, definitely moves to go for. But the last move I really want to go over, and the move that I normally will keep, I either go with the cheeky hidden power potentially, Facade can sometimes be nice, Aqua Jet, Waterfall, but the main move that I normally choose last is actually Wakeup Slap. This is actually one of Alomomola's strongest moves. I discovered this when I was building for a guy that had Weavile, and the fact that Wakeup Slap destroyed him. Then I used it for a guy against T-Tower and Cryogonal, and it blew them back too. Wakeup Slap is really cool on Alomomola. You guys must be thinking, like, how the hell is he saying this name constantly so many times? Try having it in your team for a season and just constantly talking about it in team builders. Like, you get used to it. But why this is so good is because it hits a lot of things that potentially you won't really want to deal with. Like with the Miracle knockoff Scald, a lot of Pokemon are going to try and sub up on you. It's going to be a thing that happens, and Wake Up Slap is a way of potentially breaking some of those subs. It hits those it hits the normal types harder than any other move that you have. Pardon me, Jesus. Okay, the tacos I had earlier tonight, getting a bit of sudden regret. But Wake Up Slap is really nice tech, especially in a draft-based format. It gives you a way of hitting a lot of good steel types. Obviously, you have knockoff for steel types, but just a pure steel type, or sub steel type, it can be really nice in that situation. I just like Wake Up Slap in general because it's a very unexpected move. Base 70 damage is really nice, and like I said, to hit things like the Weaviles, Sneasels of the world, it's really cool. It's not necessarily the move you should go for every time with Assault Vest Alomomola. Like, I think that Waterfall plus Aqua Jet on a physical set, and replacing Wake Up Slap with a potential hidden power can be really nice. Unfortunately, Alomomola is not a Pokemon that gets Natural Gift, the greatest move in the game. I also think Facade is a cool tech for a base 75 attack Pokemon because you can actually get a decent amount of damage off. The only downside is that Alomomola lacks a physically boosting move. So like, he has no move like Power Up Punch or whatnot that's going to make him benefit from that. But that being said, definitely some really cool moves to keep in mind. Another really good one to keep in mind actually is Tickle. Now you might be thinking Tickle is really stupid for Alomomola TheVerd. What are you talking about? It's really not. What Tickle does, guys, is it lowers your opponent's Pokemon's attack and defense by 1 stage. Why that's really good is because if they haven't got up an SD, that's great. But potentially if they got up an SD, it'll not only weaken them offensively, but also weakens them defensively. So if you have priority like the Aqua Jet, it can be really good for you. Potentially being able to take a hit and reply then with the Aqua Jet can be really clutch in certain situations. So I definitely would look into options like that, because it's just a really cool way for Alomomola to take advantage of opponents, because base 75 attack is still decent. It's still decent, and I think that's something you've got to keep an eye on. But let's kind of break down. So we've talked about some of the cool positives of Alomomola. Let's look at the negatives now, because we really need to highlight some of these things. So like I said, it's going to be really hard for you to play around substitute mons. Aloe, just like I said, doesn't have a physically boosting move, so unless you can baton pass a swords dance to it or something like that, it's not going to be able to take on a lot of good defensive sub users. With only base 40 special attack, you're never really breaking a sub with a Scald or anything like that, so you're basically like hoping your physical attack is enough, but it's really easy for a lot of good Pokemon to creep enough HP and defense to prevent the sub being broken, and if that happens, then you're in trouble. As I found out in my PMC semi-final match, when I definitely knew it was going to happen and just couldn't stop it anyway. So that's definitely something I would watch out for if I were you guys. Another thing, like I said, is Taunt. If you're not running the AV set, you really need to watch out for Taunt. It is a scary, scary factor. The other thing is, if you're not running Refresh or Rest or Hydration or anything like that, you need to watch out for Status. Statusing Alomomola is like a death sentence. If you get Toxic, you're in a bad way unless you have a really good Cleric on your team. So when it comes to team supporters, the biggest thing that Alomomola needs to pair with is a Grass type. Grass types are paramount in pairing with Alomomola. When I used Aloe, I paired it with a Ferrothorn, and it worked really, really nicely. They have very good synergy together. Obviously, the really cool thing as well was like Ferrothorn could Leech Seed, pass it out to Alomomola, and Alomomola could Wish Pass back into Ferrothorn to take advantage of each other's limited recovery options, which was really cool. So that was a really, really nice combo. I also think things like a Tangrowth, a Moongus, Venusaur, a lot of good different grass types. Even Gorgeist is really nice with Alomomola. They pair really well, and I think just it's a big type in general because Alomomola is only weak to 3 things, guys. He's weak to Electric, he's weak to Grass, and he's weak to Freeze Dry. Now, you might be thinking, Verd, not every Pokemon can run Freeze Dry, but trust me, when Alomomola is your best switch into a lot of good special attacking ice types, you really need to watch out for Freeze Dry, okay? Because your opponent is going to be thinking about using Freeze Dry. It's a really nice tech on things like your Regices, your Articunos, Mamoswine especially. Being able to go for Earthquake plus Freeze Dry is a really, really nice combo. And since Alomomola is chilling at base 45 special defense, a defensive Alomomola does not want to be dealing with Earthquake plus Freeze Dry and Mamoswine. So you really need to be careful of that stuff, guys. You got to watch out for it. Because the other thing is, that won't be affected by Scald. If you get the Scald burn and think, yes, got him now, boys, and he goes, lol, nah, Freeze Dry, then that's like, that Scald did nothing for you in that situation. So really, really watch out for that, for sure. But in general, Alomomola is probably B. It's a B-rated Pokemon, in my opinion. It's not near the A's. It's not even a B+, because although you can run some really cool little diverse sets, and obviously one of the best sets of Aloe, even like disregarding lefties, is Rocky Helmet, just because Rocky Helmet's so good, guys. In this format, especially in a draft-based format, it is huge, being able to get chip damage, especially on something that has Regenerator, so you don't even need the lefties. That's why it's so great. Definitely, I think, is a huge, huge factor. But, yeah, I can't put it any higher than a B rating. I don't think it's worse than a B rating either. I think Alomomola is a fantastic Pokemon in the format. The defenses are incredible. The speed isn't too bad, so you can definitely actually run like a faster Alomomola, and you can run like max attack, Waterfall, actually outspeeding speed time with Emboar, which is kind of cool. Like, speed time with Emboar is it's decent. But I definitely feel like it's not really as good bulky water as a lot of other ones in the format that I may discuss in future videos, but I definitely think it's something you should try out in a draft because it's very, very budget. It's normally worth, it's normally a tier 3 or a tier 4, mainly a tier 4, and I think the reason for that is because people think it's very one-dimensional, but I'm here in this video, oh, my phone went off then, in this video to basically tell you that it is not one-dimensional at all, guys. It is incredibly versatile, it can get a job done, and I would highly recommend you trying it out at least once, like at least getting the feel for Alomomola, because it's a kind of thing in a format that if you know how to use it, then you're definitely going to be able to surprise your opponents. I was able to do that, and then the next season, everybody has been on their toes with Alomomola because they know what this shit can do now. So it definitely gives people a heads up and lets them know what's up. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Like I said, I'm going to make it pretty long because I want to talk about all the pros, all the cons. If you think I've missed anything out about Alomomola, feel free to let me know in the comments below. If I feel like I should go into more depth or less depth, also let me know there. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and the other thing I'd really like you to do, if you could, is subscribe to my channel if you're new. I appreciate having new people on the channel giving me new ideas for videos. And speaking of new ideas for videos, you need to comment down below as well about Pokemon movesets, not Pokemon movesets, to talk about Pokemon in general or a move in general. So I've talked about Natural Gift already. I've made it very clear the good thing about Natural Gift, but talk about some other different moves in the format and like how. Don't tell me how you think they define the meta, but maybe like give your opinion on why you'd want me to talk about it, potentially stuff like that. I'm more than happy discussing those things because I really enjoy doing these discussion videos, guys. I enjoy them because it gives you guys an insight into my crazy mind as to why I do certain teams and whatnot, but it also gives you guys an idea of some underrated Pokemon in draft format and why maybe you shouldn't be overlooking them as much as you are. But I don't know. I think Alomomola is definitely worth a crack. I enjoyed using Alomomola when I had it. I called it Maurice. It was beautiful. She was the best. She put in the finest work. She was my leading kill getter for Season 1. But that's going to do it, guys. I am TheVerd. Give me some ideas. I really hope you guys enjoy this series. Let me know if you do, because I want to do more of it. I'm out this bitch.